In 1846, Our Lady made specific predictions about crop failures, famines, and childhood diseases that would unfold exactly as she described over the following years. She also revealed a deeply personal secret to an 11-year-old boy that would convert his atheist father and change their family forever. Welcome to America Needs Fatima. I'm Adrian Fonseca. These videos exist to capture the heart and soul of America with the message of Our Lady of Fatima, because it's a solution for our times. Today we're exploring one of the most remarkable aspects of Our Lady's apparition at La Salette. You'll discover how her prophecies unfolded with breathtaking accuracy. You're going to witness the miraculous conversion of a hardened atheist, and you'll understand why heaven sometimes reveals the future to call us to conversion. Later in this video, I'll share how you can become a child of Mary, where faithful priests offer daily masses for your intentions, connecting you to the same heavenly power that made these prophecies possible. Now let me take you back to that extraordinary day in the French Alps, when heaven revealed what was coming. September 19th, 1846. High in the French Alps, near the small village of La Salette, two young shepherds, 11-year-old Maximino Giraud and 15-year-old Melanie Mathieu, are about to hear prophecies that will shake the foundations of their world. A brilliant light, brighter than the sun, illuminated a ravine. Within this supernatural radiance sits a beautiful lady, weeping with her crowned head in her hands. As the children draw closer, filled with awe rather than fear, the lady stands and speaks in their gentle French dialect. "Come to me, my children. Do not be afraid. I am here to tell you something of the greatest importance." After addressing the spiritual crisis plaguing France, the abandonment of Sunday worship, and the blasphemous use of her son's holy name, Our Lady began to reveal the future with stunning precision. "If the harvest gets spoiled," she says, her voice heavy with sorrow, "it's your own fault. I warned you last year by means of the potatoes. You ignored it." Now you have to understand, these children know nothing about agriculture beyond their simple shepherding duties. They certainly don't understand the complex economic and agricultural patterns that affected all of France, and the whole world for that matter. But Our Lady continues with a detailed knowledge that no human could possibly possess. As she said, quite the opposite. "When you found out that the potatoes had rotted, you swore and cursed my son's name. They will keep rotting, and by Christmas this year there will be none left. If you have grain, sowing it will be useless, because the animals will eat what you plant, and any that grows will fall apart when you thresh it. A great famine is coming, but before that happens, children under 7 will tremble and die in their parents' arms. The adults will pay for their sins with hunger. The grapes will rot, and the walnuts will spoil." These words, spoken by a weeping mother, would prove to be devastatingly accurate. The terrible calamities foretold began to unfold almost immediately, as if heaven had pulled back the curtain on divine justice. The potato famine of 1846 persisted with brutal intensity, particularly in Ireland, where over 1 million people died from starvation and disease. But it wasn't limited to Ireland. Across Europe, potato crops failed catastrophically, exactly as Our Lady had predicted. Meanwhile, the shortage of wheat and corn became severe throughout France. A strange disease affected vineyards all across the country, causing grapes to rot on the vine just as she had foretold. Walnut trees, normally hardy and reliable, produced spoiled fruit that couldn't be eaten or sold. But perhaps the most chilling fulfillment came with her prophecy about children trembling and dying in their parents' arms. This was an eerily precise description of scarlet fever, a bacterial infection that would ravage Europe in the following years. Scarlet fever primarily affected children between the ages of 1 and 7 years, exactly the age group Our Lady had specified. Historical records show that during the mid-19th century outbreaks, this disease outweighed diphtheria, measles, and whooping cough as the causes of death for those under 15 years old. The symptoms were heartbreaking. Children would develop high fevers, Their little bodies would begin to shake with chills, and many would indeed die in their parents' arms, just as Our Lady had predicted. The accuracy was so precise that even skeptics had to acknowledge that something supernatural was at work. I believe the punishments would have been even worse without Our Lady's merciful intercession and the prayers of those who heeded her call. Because of these chastisements, many people did in fact begin to take heaven's warning seriously. Churches that had been nearly empty started to fill with penitent souls. Businesses began closing on Sundays, honoring the Lord's Day that had been so shamefully neglected. The casual use of profanity and blasphemy decreased significantly, at least for a time. When we witness such precise fulfillment of Our Lady's prophecies, we must ask ourselves, what warning is heaven giving us today? Through apparitions like Fatima and countless other interventions, she continues to call us to prayer, penance, and conversion. Our Lady's prophetic words at La Salette reminds us that heaven sees everything and knows what's coming. That's why our Child of Mary program is so important. It ensures that every single day, faithful priests offer traditional Catholic masses for you and your intentions. When you join the Child of Mary program, you will receive special gifts, including an exclusive lapel pin of Our Lady of Fatima that connects you to her maternal protection, a subscription to Crusade magazine keeping you informed and inspired on your spiritual journey, and for this year only, an ebook copy of the Immaculate Heart of Mary and God's Plan for America. I also want to thank some of our Child of Mary members who recently joined and make these videos possible through their generous support. Cliff G, Delma F, Emma V, Monica B, and Charles O. Your devotion to Our Lady makes this mission possible and shows exactly the kind of spiritual family you'll be joining. The time to draw closer to heaven is now, so click the link in the description box down below to become a Child of Mary today. Now for the marvelous conversion of Maximino's father. But Our Lady's supernatural knowledge wasn't limited to public prophecies. She also demonstrated her divine awareness through deeply personal revelations that would change individual lives. After delivering her public message to both children, Our Lady gave each of them a personal secret. To young Maximin, she revealed something that seemed, at the time, almost insignificant compared to the earth-shattering prophecies about famines and plagues. She told him about a small favor that God had granted his father years earlier. Something so minor that even his father had completely forgotten about. But little did the boy know that the kind of impact this seemingly trivial message would have. Maximin's father, Pierre Giraud, had been living as a practical atheist for years. He rarely attended church and had grown indifferent to religion. And like so many men of his generation who had lived through the chaos of the French Revolution and Napoleon's wars, faith seemed irrelevant to the harsh realities of peasant life. When Pierre had heard about his son's claims of seeing a beautiful lady on the mountain, he reacted with typical skepticism and annoyance. He strictly forbade Maximin from repeating such nonsense and threatened severe punishments if the boy continued spreading these stories. But as curious visitors kept arriving, wanting to question Maximin about the apparitions, Pierre's patience wore thin. Days later, thoroughly frustrated by all the attention and disruption to his household, he threatened to punish his son so severely if this situation continued. That's when 11-year-old Maximin spoke up with innocent confidence. "But Papa, she spoke to me about you." Now you can imagine how this got his father's attention. Pierre demanded to know exactly what that's supposed to mean and what this lady had said about him. So Maximin told his father about Our Lady's revelation. She had reminded him of a time when the wheat crop had failed on their farm in Cour, the closest town in what is now the shrine of Our Lady of La Salette. During that difficult period, Pierre had been deeply worried, even distraught, that his young son might go hungry. It was a father's worst fear, being unable to provide bread for his child. But then, almost miraculously, a kind stranger had given Maximin some bread on his way home from town. The incident has seemed like a small mercy at the time, nothing more than human kindness in a moment of need. Pierre had been grateful, of course, but as the months and years passed, the memory had faded, really rather completely from his mind. Until that moment, in September 1846, he had entirely forgotten about the whole thing. But Our Lady hadn't forgotten. Heaven never forgets a single prayer, a single worry, a single act of providence. no matter how small. Pierre Giraud was absolutely stunned by what Our Lady had revealed through his son. Here he thought he had completely removed God from his life, that he was living as a self-sufficient man who needed nothing from heaven. Yet this supernatural revelation showed him that God had been watching over his family all along, caring about even their most basic needs. This discovery sparked a genuine transformation in the heart of this lonely and discouraged widower. He realized that God never ceases, not even for an instant, to hear the hopes and anxieties of his children, including their fears about having enough bread to feed their families. When Pierre's chronic asthma was subsequently healed through prayers to Our Lady of La Salette, his conversion was complete. He became not only a practicing Catholic, but a model Catholic father who raised his son with deep faith and devotion. The prophetic accuracy of Our Lady's message at La Salette offers us profound lessons for our own time. When she warns of consequences for sins, we can be certain those consequences will in fact follow. When she promises blessings for conversion, we can trust completely in her maternal intercession. And the story of Pierre Giraud reminds us that God sees and remembers every detail of our lives, our struggles, our fears, our small acts of kindness, and yes, even our prayers that we think may have gone unheard. Nothing escapes the loving attention of divine providence, no matter how insignificant it may seem to us. Our Lady's tears at La Salette were tears of a mother who sees her children walking towards spiritual disaster. Her prophecies were not meant to just frighten us, but to warn with loving urgency. And most importantly, let us trust in the prophetic promises that she spoke at La Salette. If people convert, the stones will become piles of wheat. No matter how dire our circumstances, no matter how far we have fallen individually or even as a society, conversion always opens the door to divine blessings and mercy. And if you want to discover more about Our Lady of La Salette and her urgent messages for our times, click on the Our Lady of La Salette playlist appearing on your screen right now. You'll find 4 incredible videos exploring different aspects of this life-changing apparition. Don't miss these powerful stories of heaven's intervention in our world. Our Lady of La Salette, pray for us. May God bless you, and Mary Immaculate keep you under her mantle. God love you.